My name is James Morgan. This is my SPED 520 ASL video presentation. I'm recording on my district issued Chromebook, a Google Meet that I am going to put to use to present my Google Slides. So this is the assessment of student learning that I put together. I'm using pictures to discuss it. If I put text, I would just read the text, and I don't want to do that. When it comes to lesson planning and assessments to monitor and support learning, we've talked about, and I've learned in this class and in my many other classes and from working at the school, that we kind of back create our lessons. We start with the goal, and then we back create the lessons with some highlight points, and then we build in the assessments that we're going to use. Preferably each lesson, not necessarily a big long thing, could be an entry exit ticket, could be any kind of assessment that we're going to use to progress monitor the student. It's important for us to know about our focused learner. This is a focused learner that I used for one of my other classes. His family was from Russia. When he came to our school in Wooddale, Illinois, he didn't speak English at all. That his family's background, we had a lot to learn in order to be able to give him and help him to meet his educational goals. So in our part 2 with our focused learner also, it talked about getting to know the student, his interests, his passions, so that we can create our lessons and tailor them to fit the focused learner, his needs and interests. And that kind of allows him to activate background knowledge to be able to participate in the activities and assignments that we create. When we talk about supporting our learners' use of expressive and receptive communication, that's talking about how can our student not only speak up for himself, but how well can he read nonverbal cues or express his needs. So in our building, I tried to take pictures from our building. I got permission to take them. I got permission for all the student photos documented from parents. Expressive and receptive communication is important because we have to be able to see how a student interacts with the text as well and what they can pull out of it. A lot of times our special ed students, I know even with my own son who has autism, expressive and receptive communication is very difficult. So it's difficult. It's not impossible, and we can teach it, but it has to be structured out, measured. We have to have measurable goals there also, and we can help our students to strengthen their expressive and receptive communication. Lesson planning, this is where I could just talk on and on. This is another student I worked with last year. When we talk about lesson plans, we have to scaffold them. We start out with some basic information with our background data, and we keep moving forward. So this student we were reading a story about Franny Stein, similar to, it's a parody of Frankenstein. And in the story, you can see Franny Stein fell inside a chocolate-covered cherry. So when I was planning my lesson and when we were doing our WH rubric with this text, I brought the student as a reward a chocolate-covered cherry so he could understand what a chocolate-covered cherry was. He hadn't had one before. So when we're doing our lesson plans, multiple things we need to include, not just text. We need to make it come real for students, however we can do that. We have to give them opportunities to use whatever methods they can to respond to a text as well. So universal design definitely comes into play, as well as standards-based grading. Assessments to further instruction. As you can see from the lesson plans, my focused learner had some setbacks. Either I was doing something wrong or he didn't understand, but we had some setbacks. So that data, you'll see it in the chart that I included with the red, yellow, and green, indicated how he went up, a little bit back down, had to make some changes and move forward. I talked before about assessment is not just MAP testing and IAR testing and ISAT. Assessment can be very simple. Thumbs up, thumbs down. I get it, I don't. One of my favorite forms of gathering data about a student and whether they're successful or not is just through having a notebook like this, which I think I added that into my rubric or into my lesson plan also, just so I can understand where our student was at. The last part of the ASL was communicating results and collaborating with stakeholders. Now, in this picture, you'll see my son, my wife has her arm on my son. He has autism. And the reason that I am in this program at Northeastern to become a special ed student, a special ed teacher, is because as a parent, I didn't understand what was going on. The academic language was not clear to me, and I was not able to get my son help until I could speak that language to his teachers in a Chicago public school. So when we're talking with parents and when we invite parents who are equal shareholders, equal partners in the IEP team and in their students' education, we need to make sure we're respectful. We need to make sure that we're speaking the language that they understand and help them to understand how we're doing assessments, what we're looking for, how to read a rubric, as well as the progress monitoring. And we have to ask parents too, what do they want? What is their goal for their student? These are just some very good highlights. I've redone this video about 20 times because it's an average of 16 minutes. So I hope that this just gets some a little bit across, and I hope you enjoy my presentation. I'm going to stop presenting. And that's it. Thank you so much.